Hello and welcome to Morning Call for Thursday, the 9th of May 2019. I'm Fab from Hamburg, where we are preparing to celebrate our harbor's birthday, which will start on Friday. Hafengeburtstag, we do that every year. We love our harbor so much. We celebrate its birthday, and there's always ships coming in from all over the world, and there's world famous Schlepper Ballet. It's a tugboat ballet where they play music and the tugboats dance around. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, yeah, so we are preparing for that here. I am nonetheless here to bring you some tech news. Yeah, I'm a bit later today again. It was a long night last night recording podcasts, as you can tell. Lots of beers were consumed. Anyway, so I'm gonna give you a quick overview. We had some breaking news come in just before the show. I just saw this go up on Heise as I was about to start the show. That vibrator, you might remember early in the year, I was talking about CES, and they had an innovation prize which was supposed to go to this vibrator called Ose, I don't know, which is a robotic vibrator that kind of you don't need to hold. It's like a hand-free vibrator, and then they pulled the prize because vibrators are disgusting, apparently, according to these CES, the organization that puts on the CES. Now they've redecided, like they've reconsidered and given the prize to the startup Laura Di Carlo. That name is just amazing. They've now gotten that prize, which I think is good. Took them a long time. I mean, but at least it looks like they've reconsidered. All hail the mighty vibrator. I mean, that's hand-free vibrator. It's a good idea. I like that. Why did it take them so long to get that idea? Probably because they used to be designed by men, right? And we don't know how it works. So Google is changing Chrome. Google is changing the behavior of third-party cookies in Chrome because Google, I'll have you know, is now all about privacy. Yes, Google, as the register says, but it's for privacy. You know us, we're Google, privacy champions, always championing privacy, us. So they're doing something that other browsers, I think Firefox, started with it, or maybe even Safari, I don't know. So basically, stricter handling of third-party cookies. So third-party cookies being, if I have a website, you visit my website, I can give you a cookie, obviously, to track your session. For example, if you're logged in, that's a first-party cookie. That's basically needed to run any website with any significant amount of interaction and functionality. A third-party cookie is if I embed, let's say, an ad or a video from YouTube, and they put like that embedded, that part which actually is loaded from another server, puts a cookie on your device. That would be a third-party cookie, which is generally used for tracking, advertising and tracking. Can be used for other stuff, for example, to log some stuff without having users log in on another site. But generally, it's an advertising technology, which, as the register points out, Google is the biggest. They own pretty much all the companies that do all of this. They're the biggest distributor of cookies in the world by far. So for them to restrict this is interesting, and you could buy it into them, into their argument that it's a privacy thing, but it really isn't. I mean, the thing that the register points out here, among all the technical stuff that I'm not going to go into because it's really boring, this is a power grab by Google, because Google pretty much doesn't need third-party cookies. They own all the companies, DoubleClick and all their ad tracking networks, a lot of them. But really, you're probably browsing. I mean, you're not. You're like my audience. You're techies. maybe you're not. But like a general user, generally, I mean, will be browsing the web by using Chrome, which is by far the browser with the biggest market share. So they already have you there. Google is now forcing people pretty much to sign into Chrome. If you use any Google service, like Gmail or something, for some time now, they've automatically logged you into Chrome as well, which the register is also writing about here, which, they know who you are. You'll be logged into some, like you're browsing the web on your phone, you'll be logged into Gmail or Google Maps or any of their services. So they really don't need third-party cookies. I mean, they could pretty much turn them off and not lose as much because they still can track you. What it does is basically hinder work for Google's competition, who, other advertising networks which still need these third-party cookies, which do not have a browser that you're using or any other apps. And so Google is just basically lining their own pockets with this as well. It's I doubt it's a privacy move. Let's put it that way. Apple, meanwhile, is doing other things to the web. Apple Apple has been pushing dark mode in lots of the apps and operating systems. So iOS has, I use a lot of iOS in dark mode settings. Where basically, sorry, I was not looking at the chat. 7 of 9's there. Hello, he says, was geht, Digga? Biggest distributors of cookies, the Girl Scouts of America, want to have a word with you. And Mike's also there. Hi, Mike. It's nice to see you guys. It's good. Yeah, they're going to Girl Scouts. Are they still called the Girl Scouts? Shouldn't they now be like Shouldn't there just be one scout organization, like the Transgender Rainbow Scouts of America, something? I don't know. Anyway, yes, the Girl Scouts. Also, probably, I don't know. Who else is distributing cookies? Leibniz in Hanover, the famous Leibniz cookie with the only genuine with 52 teeth. It just sounds weird when you translate it into English. Anyway, yes. So Apple is pushing dark mode, which I really like. It's really nice when you're in the evening, you're browsing stuff. Or using apps, you don't want to be blinded by white websites like this Heise website, for example. If you browse that at night, it's like that old Springsteen song, "Blinded by the light, cut loose like a deuce, another run in the night." Anyway, his only number one hit in the single charts in the US ever. Which, as he keeps pointing out, wasn't sung by him, but Manfred Mann, in that case. Anyway, so yes, Apple is pushing dark mode. What they're now doing is pushing dark mode for websites. So they already, for like email display, they will turn up, well, if it's a very simple website, they will automatically turn it black, like white text on black background. And they now are giving you the opportunity, or they want to push some kind of standard where basically your website can advertise that it also has a dark setting, which I guess you can do with CSS. And then iOS will recognize that, and if you switch iOS to be on dark mode, it'll automatically load these dark websites, which is kind of handy. There is a CSS property called Color Scheme, which modern themes for like CMSs will sometimes use, where you can actually switch colors on the theme just basically in CSS. So everything is like one theme, and all the different color themes are basically in the CSS file, and you can just switch. Like usually do it in your CMS, and then it gets displayed in other colors. Asky says, "I'd rather get rid of the Leibniz cookies rather quickly. They should not be sticky at all." What? Okay. I must say, coincidence, I didn't know this, but I am already prepared. If you go to fab.industries, little advertisement here. Look. If my splendor on this page blinds you too much, I built in, the guy who designed the theme I'm using, to be honest. But I have a little Easter egg that I'm gonna show you. If you click on the little fox in the upper right hand corner, you can't see my pointer on Twitch, but there's on the upper right hand corner there's a little fox logo. If you click that, bam, it's dark mode. Already works. I don't know. Now I just have to tie that in with whatever Apple's doing. I'll have to figure out how that works. But this is using, I think, the same CSS color theme property, so you can just switch it back and forth, and it actually has color properties for everything. Oh, I had source code somewhere where you can actually. Did I have? Whoop. Where did I put this? Is this on the German part of the page? Let's see. Think was there? Yeah, I don't. It's not colored source code, but it like basically switches all elements, except of the images. Of course, it just inverts the colors, which is pretty nice. I like that. That's good. We have, in case you have an internet radio, you might have noticed that broke or isn't working as it was supposed to, or as it worked before. This is because apparently, I didn't know this. I'm not using internet like radio on an actual device. I sometimes use streams. I use them on Sonos and stuff like that. But there's lots of like these radio things, and lots of them use a service from a company called Frontier Silicon, and they had a third-party provider who provided basically, I think, a directory of internet radio streams and podcasts, and they were just like, no, we're packing in. We don't. They really haven't said why, but I guess their business kind of fall apart. And they just stopped doing things and turned off their service, I guess. And now this company, Frontier, has the problem that pretty much all their radios stopped working, and they had to scramble to fix it. Which is interesting because they all use kind of the same technology. This goes to show you, if you have something like this, have technology like this, how brittle it can be sometimes, because you're just depending on one web service.
Priority
and if they turn everything off,
coming in on secured channel.
Yeah, then you're done. Oh, we have a subscription from Harry Vertana. Thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot. That is great. Haven't had a subscription on the show for a while. That's pretty cool. There's another story that I found that is kind of in the same vein, which I found interesting. So Golem was reporting on security cameras by Abus. Abus is a relatively known in Germany subhype. Yay! Subtrain. Choo choo choo. Abus is at least in Germany. I don't know if they're that known outside of Germany, but they're in Germany a very well-known lock and security company, like lock manufacturer, and of course they also do like surveillance cameras. And so the Chaos Computer Club in Germany found security vulnerabilities in some of their cameras, which, to make matters worse, are like a white label thing. So lots of other manufacturers kind of basically use them. And Abus was like, okay guys, we can't fix this. So now they will recall all the cameras that are broken. Basically, you can own the cameras, and the device is 5 years old basically, and they can't fix them because they have as all companies, they're working with like Chinese manufacturers. And there's like a company that did, like, I guess, the board. I mean, it's always like this. You buy like a board and then firmware, and it's like all a bundle. You're like a OEM and you buy all that stuff, and then they make basically the hardware for you. Now the problem is they need like the development environment they used at that company, and Abus doesn't have it, and they checked with the company that was working for them, and apparently they don't have it either. So there are 48 camera models affected by this. They were made between 2010 and 2014, And if you have one of those, you can contact the manufacturer. I guess in this case it's Abus directly. They have a link on their website, and they will give you a new camera, another one that is like equivalent in functionality. Wow, this is pretty amazing. So this is like, I mean, the security vulnerabilities is normal stuff like a buffer overflow, and yeah, it's just like, the company that manufactured this stuff is a Taiwanese company called Grain Media, and they needed their development environment, and they don't have it anymore. I guess they just sold that thing. Oh, Harry has a fab sub icon. Oh, great. Yes, use that to abandon. Also use that on other channels. Just spam my silly mud face everywhere. So if you have one of these camera models, I'm not going to read them out. They're all called TV IP something. Golem has a good story on this. If you have any camera that looks like that or sounds like that, looks a bit like this. They're like these round things that you just mount on the ceiling, I guess. Yeah, that is just amazing. Like people, they just lose their confidence. What kind of companies are these? It's like, oh yeah, we compiled that with something. The guy left. We have no idea what the hell's going on. Just recall all the hardware. This is the easiest way. Yes, another a good security story actually. So I'm quoting Heise here, and this guy called Fabian A. Scherschel. Yeah, I kind of like him. He writes good stuff. So I wrote this. If you use WordPress, they have auto updates, which is great for security. People have always said this is a great feature. But you might also be aware, if you're a WordPress admin, as I had been for quite a while, that there's a big problem with that because WordPress doesn't sign, or until now hasn't signed their updates. So there was always conceivable that somebody might break into the WordPress servers and then just push an update. Now, there are estimates that about, like, there's these tracking companies, and they web surveillance companies, and they look at websites and stuff, and there's people that are saying of the 10 million most visited website on the Alexa ranking, more than 33%, so more than a third, use WordPress. And I guess most of these will have auto update enabled, because these days basically it's enabled by default unless you have like a really weird hoster where you need like to FTP the files up and you don't have a password that you can give WordPress, and it's like, or you have, I think there's some PHP execution limitations, then WordPress can't do it either. But like mostly, pretty much anybody will have that. And the problem was somebody could have broken into their system and basically owned a third of the websites on the internet. For better or worse, could have owned all of them just by uploading a update, that looked legitimate and had like malware in there that would then automatically be installed on all these WordPress instances, which isn't unconceivable because in 2016, a security company called WordFence actually found vulnerabilities in this API, and I mean WordPress fixed them. But from then on, like everybody was kind of going, "Oh my God, this could really happen." Then 2017, there was like the NotPetya attack, where they owned this which looked like a ransomware Trojan, but really wasn't, where they basically owned this Ukrainian tax software, owned their service, and pushed an update to everybody, and that cost the European economy like millions of dollars. So it wouldn't have been inconceivable that somebody did that with WordPress. Now, what they have done finally is they have put in place a digital certificate infrastructure. So basically, the WordPress developers will sign WordPress updates from now on, and your WordPress instance will, before it installs them, check that they're actually signed with the right key, which is, I mean, that's nothing new. It's a lot of software does that and should be doing so. It starts with the next update. I think the first update, it will only soft fail. It will give you a warning, but from then on, if the signatures cannot be verified, it will not install the update, which is great news. Finally, if they've done this. This was a security company called the Paragon Initiative Enterprises or something. They were for 2 years were on this bug report, and yeah, it's pretty good. It doesn't save you from anything. Like if the attackers actually would get access to the keys, which the WordPress core team I guess has, then they could still like own the system. And it's not like that hasn't happened before. But I mean, at least so now they like before they would have only had to own like the server the updates are distributed from. Now they actually need to own like developers' machines or something and get the keys some way else. So that's pretty good. Golem reporting, they were reporting that Google wasn't talking about market share of Android versions anymore. They are now doing so again. Turns out Android 9, the latest Android version, is at 10% pretty much. If you look at this, basically 90% of all Android phones are running outdated Android versions. So the biggest part of the pie is still Android 6, followed with almost 17%, followed by Android 8.1 and 8.0, and then 5.1, and then 7.0, and then Android 9. There's still about like 3% of Android 5, 7% of Android 4.4. It's looking pretty bleak. Android Police is saying Google wasn't reporting this because there are rumors, or they've heard from Google employees off the record that they had problems with collecting the data. Harry Ratana saying it's unbelievable that for all these years something catastrophic didn't happen with the WordPress infrastructure. I was amazed like that. Well, that's basically what I wrote in my story as well. It was a very close call. Like, people definitely knew about this. I mean, this was an open bug, and I'd read about it like years ago. People were going like, when is this going to be fixed? But I guess it's also not easy to do. It's not like they were sitting on their hands. You need to roll out something like this that is cryptographically sound. They're using the NACL crypto library, which by any accounts is really good, by Daniel J. Bernstein, a well-known cryptographer. And doing that, and it looks great. And also you need to test it, right? Like if you brick that, if you're bricking like updates for a third of all the websites on the internet, which would also be bad if they don't get security updates anymore. So Google here with the reports of the Android versions, it looks like they broke something in their reporting. Still, lots of Android phones are running outdated software. Who would have known? Speaking of Android, Google is saying, this is all from their Google I/O conference. As the Register puts it, you're not still writing Android apps in Oracle's Java, are you? Google tut-tuts at DevConf. AdGiant pushes Kotlin language, Q Beta 3, Flutter, blah, blah, blah. So basically they're pushing Kotlin as an Android alternative, which Google has done for quite a while, but now they're actually ramping it up. They're basically saying if you write a new project for Android, do not use Java, use Kotlin, which is an interesting move because Java obviously... one of the most used programming languages. It's huge in business and basically has many people don't really like it, but like if you look at these surveys of developers, there are just tons of developers that know it, which is always like a good thing. If you have an ecosystem. The Register here putting up a teaser image of a coffee cup with a skull in the creamer. I guess they're saying Java is dead. I mean, Android is a big linchpin for Java. The other is like business applications, and that won't go away for a long time. But I guess why is Google doing this? I mean, they're saying Kotlin's a much better programming language, but come on, if that was the case, you wouldn't have used Java from the beginning. I mean, there were already better programmers in my humble opinion, and I'm not really a programmer, but people know what they're doing. Knew this. It's just, I mean, just I guess the guys who did Android before Google acquired it weren't dumb. I guess they were thinking, so we are building this mobile ecosystem, so we need developers to write these apps. What languages do they know? Java, lots of people know. It's very portable, so we can do that. I mean, why is Google switching? I'm convinced that this is because of the lawsuit with Oracle. The Register is also alluding to that, obviously, in the headline and in their story. It's basically they want Oracle. Even if they win that lawsuit or that lawsuit goes away, Google wants their own thing. And you can see them transitioning to other, I mean, they're pushing this other, Flutter as part of this, what is it, Fuchsia, the horrible name, like the new Google's new OS, and I guess that's all going to be based on Kotlin. So they want their own thing. Maybe with a little bit more liberal open source licenses as well. I don't know. So I guess that's why they're doing that. I don't think they're doing that because it's. I mean, they're saying it's a better technology, which might be true, but I don't think that's their raison d'être for doing this. They want their own thing that Oracle doesn't have copyrights in and can know trademarks and can sue them over. And they don't want to have another lawsuit where they have to define what an API is, because that's a bloody headache, as we know. And then one last story for the people in the UK that are watching and listening. You are already obviously, it's not like you haven't had it bad enough with Brexit and everything, but also in July, the porn ban is coming in. So the UK government has decided that porn is evil, or as the Register calls it, smut, needs to be banned. And you will have to basically prove that you're over 18 to visit these websites, which the Register points out is creating a business for opportunity for kind of a bit shadowy, weird companies that are getting founded right now. They have one they talk about on this story. Age verification claims no payment model for 40% of Brits ahead of July porn ban. So basically they have this a company called One Account. They said they have made deals with lots of porn websites, and you will just be able to sign up as a Briton. You will be able to sign up, and then you will be able to, without paying, visit all these porn sites, because then all these porn sites, as the Register says, these included in a statement, it claimed in a statement, the company included Xhamster, Beak, TXX, and others with URLs that are too explicit for a friendly website. So you will be able to just visit these sites, and they can be sure that you are over 18, so they won't get sued by the UK government. Now, the problem with this is obviously, I mean, my personal opinion, I have no idea why they're blocking porn. My God, I mean, even if, underage, I don't have kids, but, even if underage kids are watching porn, that is, one of the, you'd think in today's internet world, that's one of the most benign things they could be doing, right? They could be watching ISIS beheading videos, live streams of shooters shooting down people in mosques, Swiss Instagram rappers who are ripping off old ladies. I mean, they could be doing so much stuff. It's almost like porn would be one of the more healthier alternatives. Harry Vatana says, when are VPN companies going public? Starting to think these companies would be good investments. Yeah, probably. VPN would probably, yeah. I think it's just too technical. I think I'm with the Register here. If people, if they have this company, I think, and you don't need to pay, I think people will be able to will sign up to that in droves. The problem is, you have to verify your age, so you have to verify your identity. And as the register points out, these companies are sitting on a gold mine of information, both like a huge target for hackers who want that information and for other companies. And the register kind of basically saying, how is this company going to make money? Are they selling the data? And they asked them and they said no, and we're going to have a pay scheme later and whatever. But like the point stands, the register saying, what you basically is doing by banning pornography, which is a kind of a really a stupid thing to do for a government as well. I mean, why do you care what I'm doing in my bedroom, right? Why do you fucking care? You're creating like this. You're always professing, oh, you want more privacy for our citizens, but you're basically creating a market for companies that are collecting more information, and you're basically enforcing this by law. I just love. I'm gonna read this out. I love the end, the conclusion. The register ends here with saying the porn ban will make Britain a less safe country in which to go online. The social conservatives running the current government and advising it in the civil service know this full well and don't seem to care or understand. To the kind of deviants who get their indecent thrills from controlling and manipulating large numbers of other people instead of wholesome smut, the risk they are deliberately exposing us with the porn ban for them would seem the right moral consequence of our self-abusing sins. One has to ask oneself, why are they making this their business? I find this, putting a nice bow on it. I mean, isn't that collecting of data of citizens worse than citizens, doing whatever they want? Like if you're grown up, we can have conversations about if porn is of the way porn is produced and how it treats women. If that is a thing we should be supporting, but if I want to watch pornography, it's none of your business. And I think also this whole, won't somebody think of the kids, is just stupid. I mean, parents have been able to regulate their kids themselves, all the time. And, sometimes you just can't, and sometimes kids will just do things, and that's what it means to grow up. Mike Dan says, would be great if they could focus on climate change or something other more urgent social cultural challenges. Yes, Greta Thunberg. For me, it's okay. Yeah, climate change is definitely something. But all the people drowning in the Mediterranean, maybe the fact that the government doesn't work, that fucking your country is falling apart because of Brexit, all the other problems we're having, like real criminals, like real shitty stuff people are doing, real crime. Life finds a way to watch porn, says Cricket. Yeah, you can't stop the signal. Haven't you watched Firefly? I should just play that speech by Mal. If you've never seen Serenity, the movie, look it up. There's a speech that basically ends with we aim to misbehave. Oh God, I wonder if I can find that and then play out with that. Let's see. But that's my last story. I'm sorry to land you out on such a downer. I'll be back tomorrow with more tech news. Oh God, I'm just trying to talk and search. Oh, we aim to misbehave. It's coming up immediately. Guess I haven't. I hope this is actually what I'm looking for, and not something else. But So I'll be back tomorrow with some more tech news. And just have a good day. Just despite the porn ban. Porn will find a way. We aim to misbehave. Wasn't that the baseline of Linux Outlaws? Yeah, I took that from Serenity. It's just such a great speech. Okay, I'm gonna end the show with Nathan Fillion as Malcolm Reynolds, not talking about the porn ban, but he could be talking about the porn ban. Anyway, until then, I hope you have a don't disgrade us, says Mike. Fucking Greta Thunberg. Mike, it's not her. I just hate kids with with big mouths. I was a kid like that myself, and I don't like it. Anyway, so see you tomorrow. Until then, I'll leave you with this wisdom from Joss Whedon's film Serenity.
This report is maybe 12 years old. Parliament buried it, and it stayed buried until River dug it up. This is what they feared she knew. And they were right to fear. Because there's a whole universe of folk who are going to know it too. They're going to see it. Somebody has to speak for these people. Y'all got on this boat for different reasons, but y'all come to the same place. So now I'm asking more of you than I have before. Maybe all. As sure as I know anything, I know this. They will try again. Maybe on another world, maybe on this very ground swept clean. A year from now, 10, they'll swing back to the belief that they can make people better. And I do not hold to that. So no more running. I aim to misbehave.